it for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Simmer Down with John Simpson.
Brady Kachuk with the tip. his 100th goal in his 300th game, and it's a Gordie Howe hat trick to tie it.
The sickest Ottawa Senators podcast. It's gonna be sick.
How we doing, Ottawa? Just me again. Simmer's still dealing with some family issues, so we'll kind of try and see what we can do here again today. Yesterday went pretty well. Thank you for all the questions and the comments to kind of help me get through that day. So lots to talk about today, it seems, and I'm sure there'll be lots of questions, and I'll try and provide some answers if possible here. First off, I just wanted to, before we kind of get into the shit, I just kind of wanted to talk about Hockey Fights Cancer. That's something that affects everyone. And it's a tradition in the NHL that in all of sports, I guess, but that I like to see. I always mention I do not want to involve politics and sport on this podcast. I think sport is a great escape for people to not deal with that everyday BS, let's say. But this is one thing that's different, I think. So, it's obviously affects everyone out there. Everyone has a story of someone themselves, a family member, or whatever. So it's good. There's lots of money raised last night. The owners stepped up as well. So it's one thing that brings everyone together for a good cause. And that's probably, the highlight of the night. Because the hockey game wasn't very good. So, to dive into the game, it was a lot of men versus boys out there, it looked like yesterday. Florida came to play and Ottawa didn't. And that should have been a game that Ottawa came out firing. They would have known. Florida lost 2 in a row after being very, very good for most of the year. This is a team that went to the Cup Finals. This is a team that's battle-tested. This is a team that is experienced. This is a big team with skill and ability and that plays the right way with a good coach. And they showed that yesterday. It's tough to play against teams like that, especially when you're a younger, smaller team and a team not ready to roll. They were just outmatched right through the lineup, I thought. Barkov just does what he wants out there with his size and puck ability and puck possession. Right through the lineup to the defense that just have more size and are more sure. When you watch Florida play, I mean, obviously when they're doing the lines, you just naturally go, wow, that's a good lineup. I mean, that's a potentially Eastern Conference finals lineup, maybe even a Stanley Cup finals lineup. And they might even have room to add. Paul Maurice, I know AJ Jakubek from TSN 1200 hasn't always been a big fan, and neither have I. It's something we've had common ground with, but I think he's really proven here that he knows how to take a team and really just provide structure and belief and confidence in a team and they're playing that way. And Ottawa isn't, and they were just outmatched. And it's a good barometer of where you need to get to. That's Ottawa's worst game probably in a while too. So you can't get so far down. That said, that's a Stanley Cup Finals roster right there. So that tells you where you need to get to. And I'll have more thoughts on that later whenever we kind of just maybe compare the lineups or whatever. But it's not a good day. When you compare the two teams just in playing style, one thing I noticed is carrying the puck through the neutral zone into the offensive zone is a lot easier for Florida. They have support. They have an extra guy close to the puck that you can always make a little pass to. They also have a far guy up the side, like a defenseman moving up there. So there's always a pass for the puck carrier, which I find Ottawa lacks. It's almost like it has to be an individual effort to get the puck into the other team's zone, and it typically turns into a dump in that is not thought about. It's just, I need to get the puck in deep. However I can do that, I will do that. It's not, well, my far guy is going in hard to the far corner, so I'm going to lay a soft dump, make it hard on the defenseman to, have to turn around, make a hard decision with his back to the play, with a forechecker on him. It's just, we're just trying to get it in and just survive another shift. I mean, the icings, I think there was maybe 4 early on by the Senators, bobbling pucks, no one around. No one wanted to take the bull by the horns at all. And that was needed in a game like this. I mean, obviously it's the Kachuk Bowl. You should be fired up to play in that. Your captain's brother is on the other team, obviously a big rivalry, a division game, a home game that you need to win. And it's just not there. They're just not ready to play. And that goes, that's a player issue, but that's a coaching issue too. You're not in form. You're not crisp. You're just out there for a Sunday skate, and you can't have that anymore in the NHL. And that's on the players as well. I mean, when Zub's not even playing well, I question what the hell is going on, because that's a guy that's just a stable rock, and he's even digressed here, or regressed. It's frustrating because there's nothing natural about how the Sens play. It's just they're just out there for a skate. There's no structure. There's no support or outlets, and we could beat a dead horse here, as I always say, but it's been super, super tough to watch, and something needs to change here. It's not fair to the fans. I mean, the fans have been showing up. Fans are everything in sport. You see that with soccer, in the EPL, Champions League, all that. The fans are the ones that matter. You need to play well for your fans at home. Ideally, because of that, you build a fortress at home, and you win most of your games, and you play a brand of hockey that people don't want to come to Ottawa and play against you. But that's not where we're at right now. And yes, they're behind on the timeline than Florida, 100%. Everyone's just a little older on Florida. Fair. They've made some good trades, but that's a good test for the Ottawa Senators players to see where they're at, and they failed that test. And if they have any character at all, they will be going to work and not letting that happen again. We've come to a point that it's not fair to the fans at all. It's probably not fair to DJ and his family. I'm not sure where ownership is on this. They could be thinking, well, we need to make the right change here, so we got to be sure. But nothing's improving. The players come out and say that they want to play for DJ, and he's their guy, and they can't even give a 50% effort yesterday. So to me, it's done. It's done. Nothing. What is going to change? I don't see anything changing at all. And if you do not make a change quick, it's not going to be easy with a new coach. There's bad habits built up over time. And it's going to be tough for a coach to change that, to the point that it's going to take the rest of the season almost if you make a coaching change, and you probably not going to make the playoffs, or might not make the playoffs because of how hard it's going to be to change those bad habits. But you need a good coach that's able to do that demands respect and demands a certain style of play, and showing the guys how much easier it is to play the game when you play the right way. How much more fun is it to go to the rink every day? Sure, yes, it's great to score goals, but want to know what else is great is winning games. And they need a veteran coach here. It's fairly evident what a good coach can do in this league. The best coaches in the league on the best teams at the top of the standings. And it makes a massive difference. The league is so good. There's so many close players now that structure good habits, understanding the game, managing the game, knowing what you're going up against makes a massive difference. It gives you that edge. And we don't have that edge. The other teams are getting the edge. It really is not fair to the players and not fair to the fans. It's something needs to change. So, just that offside. I just see people talk about that. That was a killer. I believe it was clearly offside. But there again, adversity. It's still 2-0. You can get back in the game, and it's not. You could tell the team doesn't give a shit, or at least they're playing like that, and so that makes it, you can't get rid of all the players. I'm very frustrated with the players and how they played as well, but you can't get rid of them. We've seen in the past how well they can play at times. We've seen that they can be better with a full lineup, but it's on them too. They need to reach down and dig deep and see if they want to just put up points or if they want to become a good team. And every young team needs to go through that. Toronto Maple Leafs go through that at times still, and they're farther along. So it's not all doom and gloom, but things need to change because the bad habits just build up, and you cannot get rid of those overnight. It is going to take massive work to change this, team and the way they play. So, when I say we need a new coach, 100%, we need a new coach now at this point, but it's not going to change overnight. This has been built up, and I think it's been masked by the amount of skill and ability on this team at times. And that's a good thing because, okay, we at least have that. It's not like we're lacking that and everything else along with the structure side of play and the team side of play, but it's not good right now. The third period, I see mixed things on Zach McEwen. DJ thought they're still in the game. I mean, I don't know what would lead you to believe that they were in the game there. I mean, it's 3-0. I think there's 4 guys had shots on net, 4 forwards had shots on net out of the whole team. They had a couple of hits because they didn't have the puck. I mean, if they were not winning that game. And there's a kid that's frustrated that Matthew Tkachuk's going after their goalie. So not only are you getting beat 3-0, you're getting manhandled in the game of hockey, but you're also getting just kind of embarrassed on your home ice. And is that the best outcome that could have happened? No, I don't believe that was a penalty. I'm from like a 5-minute penalty. I'm from the old school, but at some point, enough is enough. And yes, it's going to ensure you don't win that game, but you were never going to win that game at that point. So it kind of allows you to get something going, maybe get some camaraderie with the boys and get your nose dirty and realize it's not that bad. And Paul Maurice had a good quote about it. I mean, that would have been 250 minutes of penalties 10 years ago. Guys aren't even getting hurt in these little scrums. It's nothing. It's a nothing, but it at least kind of brings the guys together. And it's the same idea of what those big brawls would have been back in the day. Don't mess with us, but also kind of bring the team together and show that you're standing up for your team. At least that's what kind of it was for me. That 5-minute should not have been a 5-minute penalty. I mean, our league's getting so soft. The 10-minute majors, the 10-minute misconducts. I mean, it's kind of a joke. Kick out some guys if you want. That's fine. But because it's a little scrum with no one getting hurt, I don't see why it really makes a massive difference. Yes, it could have got worse, but I mean, at least the fans got something out of it. I mean, the team had no heartbeat for 2 periods, and then you finally got something, talking to some friends at the games, at least, they got some entertainment value, unfortunately, as that is. But individually, I mean, Jake Sanderson, Jake the Snake, Sandstorm, low pulse in a good way and plays upbeat. I mean, what more do you want? This guy, Matthew Tkachuk verbally calls him out. And he says, screw it. I'm going to just go right at him and show. And if you want to fight now in the NHL, unless you're fighting a big heavyweight, you're not going to get beat up. Like, it's not going to really hurt you for the most part. Maybe there's exceptions to the rules, but you're not going to get hurt in a hockey fight. Especially if you're not going in to try and like throw haymakers and win the fight. Protecting yourself is easy to do in this league. Matthew Tkachuk's not going to beat you up. And this guy, Jake Sanderson, knows, and he has the balls to go and do it and square up with him. And I mean, what a player, but what a character guy. The Sens are lucky to have him. And there's other guys like that at times. Joseph, I thought, still competed. Stützle had his moments, light on the puck at times, but had his moments later on in the game. So this roster, it's not all bad. There's really good pieces. I just think that there's going to need some tweaks, obviously, to get a little bigger in certain spots. When you compare Florida's bottom 3D, let's say, versus Ottawa's bottom 3D yesterday, and that doesn't win you games. But those guys are usually good penalty killers. Ottawa's power play penalty kill is not very good, but they have size, they have experience, they have know-how, and it's not easy to play against them. And then you can kind of compare to what we saw yesterday out of Ottawa's bottom 3D. And I get no one on the team was good for the most part, but I mean, JBD, Hamonic, and Brandstrom, not very good. Easy to play against. Lose one-on-one battles against these bigger forwards on Florida. It's natural progression of a team that's trying to make the playoffs. You're going to slowly have to remove those worst players on your team, but it's in the offseason. They're going to have to do a serious look on what we want this Ottawa Senators team to be and who they have to play against. Who you have to play against to get to the playoffs, and once you're in the playoffs, who do you have to play against to win rounds? And you have bigger teams that are hard, like Tampa Bay, Boston, Florida that we saw last night. You're going to have to really think about this roster makeup, and it's not going to be easy. You can't just, obviously Shabbat's going to move one of those guys out. Understand that. But we need some pricks on this team. We need big guys that can possess the puck, and big guys that can not afraid to get dirty, but that can play. And we have some of that, but and I think with coaching and style of play, that's going to change too, because I do believe support is a lot of the problem. When guys have to individually get up the ice, or maybe have one other guy, and then these big guys clog the lanes. They have big reaches. It's tough. It's tough to get through. You have to play smart. You have to have support from your other players. But yeah, this is a good measuring stick, and I think they failed. Now, with a good line, with their full lineup, Greg skated today in the second line, which moves Norris down to the third line center with Tarasenko. Let me just read these here. So you got Tkachuk, Stützle, Giroux, Joseph, Greg, Tarasenko, Kubalik, Norris, Batherson, Kelly, Chartier, McEwen. So obviously that lineup looks so much better right off the bat when you add Greg. He was off the ice early, but I think that's just precautionary, just trying to get that ankle going and not want it to swell up or anything. Just a good 20-minute skate could go a long way. So, but that lineup does look better. And Greg in a game yesterday is going to thrive. He's going to drag guys into the fight. He's still not a heavy player. And that's maybe my issue. You know, if you can kind of, you know, we are going to lose Kubalik next year, obviously, or trade him this year for a pick, or some cap space. I mean, if you have a big, harder guy that fits into that lineup there, I think it's a lot easier. You know, you're going to have Pinto, who's I think could be very good both ways and is a force. He's not crazy, but he can possess the puck. He plays smart. He has size. He can use his body to protect the puck. But we need to kind of round out this roster a little bit and get it ready to be a playoff team, and along with a coach. So, please, questions. I need questions to kind of get through this. I would really appreciate it. I see lots in the chat, actually. Have they been ready for any game this year? Maybe at the start, when it's just natural excitement for the season. But that's inside the players, and everything else is just kind of faded away. And lately, no, they haven't been. Or if they're come out ready, they, you know, surrender a goal after scoring a goal, or, you know, or have a really bad period after a good period. So have they come out ready? No. Have they wanted to play 60 minutes of hockey this year? No, they haven't. Yeah, let's I'll take another question. How the hell does DJ walk into a practice today? What is this? I agree. I think today was the last night. Last night would have been when you fire him. Get it over with for him. He doesn't need this to go on. He knows what's going on. He kind of protected himself in the interview last night. And I would too, if I was him. It's not all on him. This is not all on DJ Smith. This is roster. This is players not wanting it. But he's going to fall on the sword because you cannot trade these players yet. You cannot make a big move. You have no cap space. And you don't want to trade these guys playing at their worst because it's going to come back to haunt you. You're going to make a stupid trade for a player that you kind of like, but is not as good as potentially the player that you're trading. So I think yesterday would have been perfect to get it over with. Coach in here all week. You could have a light practice or two and then a hard practice or two. Lots of video of understanding how we want to play. Lots of maybe game-like situations in practice to kind of show this is what we need to do. And a new voice of I'm not taking any shit. And if you're not playing, I don't give a hell, because it's to that point. And you need that to get them going. It's you need that bit of fear in the coach. You need a bit of fear in your coach at this point for this young team. Let's do another one. Took Batherson close to a year to come back from high ankle sprain. Can we realistically expect Greg to have an impact as soon as he returns? No. And it takes everyone that long. That said, Greg has more of a motor than Batherson. I think Batherson, I like his hockey sense at times, but he's just not very smart other times, and it's so frustrating. I don't know where his hockey sense went at times. But Greg, he's going to give you – he might not be as good as he was, but he's going to give you solid minutes, I think, just because of the natural ability, sense, and effort level from a player. And he's younger with a better motor. So I think he'll be easier to come back than Batherson. Batherson, good. Seems like a good guy when he's doing interviews. He's honest. I don't know what's happened to him. And you see it offensively on the power plays. He can do some awesome stuff. But there was like a turnover on the, like their power play zone entries. Like, what is going on? He turns the puck over religiously. That cycle on the change, the shot, he could have just, hold on to the puck. Like, why are we wanting to get rid of the puck so quickly? Like, have some poise in your body, please. And that goes for the whole team. It's so frustrating. Yeah. And that might be get the puck in deep, get the puck on net, blah, blah, blah from the coach. I don't know, but it's not good. It's not how I want to play hockey. And I love physical. I'm a St. Louis Blues cup winning team style hockey team. Like that's the kind of game I like, with a little more skill if possible. I think that's where the good teams are heading. And I think that's Florida Panthers have a little of that in them. Let's go again. Rob Romeo, DJ is liked by the guys, but what's the balance between a player's coach and a coach that delivers tough love? So I think a coach that delivers tough love is what we need right now. And he becomes a player's coach because the players don't even understand what that is. And they're going to realize how much better that's going to make them. It's going to piss off one or two guys on the team that you're going to have to trade. We've seen that before. But he's going to make these players better, and they're going to learn to like it. They might get sick of it after 2 years. And then you bring in a guy that lets them go a little more, but still demands a little, defensive side of the puck. But the good players, the guys that want to get good, are going to like that guy hard on them. To me, I didn't really play at a high level or anything, some junior, but like when a coach is demanding something from you and he's right and he's smart, there's nothing better than that. I didn't like coaches that, maybe are demanding it and it didn't make sense what they're saying, or not trying to get you going. But if it's a good coach that's coached in the NHL, has a history of winning either as a player or as a coach, and it's hard on you, he's only doing it to make you better. And I think there'll be a guy like Sanderson, he's going to love that. And you're going to weed out the guys that you don't want. I think Batherson might even have that in him too. I think Batherson needs that maybe. Let's go again. Do we have one? Yeah. If they don't fire DJ, what other shakeups, if any, could you improve? It's come down to you're going to have to, because there are no other shakeups right now. Off-season moves, 100%. Getting guys back is going to help. Getting Shabbat back. Probably have to trade someone here to allow Pinto and Greg to come back. But that's the move. It's the easiest move to make, which leads me to believe it's the best move to make right now. Before we do another one, total shout out to the Andular family for matching the donations. 100%. I like this owner. I think he is smart, has balls, and has a plan. I wish he I know what he's doing. You don't want to fire someone that you shouldn't have fired. You want to give them the fair opportunity. And for the long term of the franchise, I appreciate where he's coming from that. But he sees the games. Steve Sayo sees the games. They know. And when you know, for sure, it's probably too late. Something needs to change. And if this team wants to be better next year, something needs to change now, because you cannot allow these bad habits to go on and to go on and to go on. Let's do another one. Who's your preferred coaching choice if they make any? So yeah, that's a good question. Kind of on the gun yesterday. I said one name, Gerard Gallant, really. Patrick Waugh is the name I forgot. been a big fan of his. I think he would demand respect. He would be so hard on these guys, but also so fair on these guys. And that's all anyone really wants, right? This guy had a little bit of success in the NHL as a coach, obviously tremendous success as a player. He was the leader of that team with Joe Sakic. He went back to junior, worked on himself, worked on some things, and he's become a better coach, and he deserves an opportunity. And he's ready. He's sitting there ready for this. And I don't know why you wouldn't have him watching the Sens. He probably is. He's a hockey nerd fan. He's probably watching the Sens, but have him watching the Sens and have him ready to go if things got bad. Yeah, those are my two guys, and I'm leaning towards Patrick Waugh. Claude Julien hasn't had tremendous success recently. Not a great team, maybe. But he has had success. He's won. He could easily prove me wrong. Not that I think he would be bad. I just think he would be not as good as maybe the other two for this team. That said, I could be very wrong on that, and he could be very good. So those are the three guys, I guess, that everyone's talking about. But if I went in order, it'd be Roy, Gallant, Julien. Let's go. At one point, is it too late to make a coaching change? Right now, it feels like perfect time to transition. Well, it's already too late, I think. Well, I would have thought last night or this morning. Every game that this goes on, it's going to be too late, or it's going to be too long, because these habits don't die overnight. And preaching to the choir here, I think a little bit, but you need to fix this right now. Unfortunately, I think, I came out the first podcast and said probably DJ needs to go. But also then try to be positive about things, give him credit where credit's due. And like I said, this is not all on DJ. This is just a guy going to fall on this sword because there's nothing else you can do. But it's, the time has come. The time has come if you want this team to fix everything that is going on. I think a good coach is going to have better practices. They must not have great practices. They're bobbling the puck. They're not zipping the puck like professionals on the tape. There's no support. There's no communication. All right, Korpisalo is losing his mind because these players don't even know what's going on, and he came from an organization with a good coach and good culture of playing hard and playing the right way. And he just must be losing his mind. Tarasenko must be going, and they're probably looking around the room going, we got some skilled guys here and good players, but young boys, you need to turn into men. That's what the coach needs. The next coach needs to turn these boys into men. Really, that's what it is. As players on the ice. Let's do another one. Pat Holmes. With everyone yelling accountability from the rooftop, is anyone actually surprised DJ isn't benching anyone? Well, no, it's a catch-22. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you sit these guys, well, you have 20 guys on the roster and guys are hurt. You sit these guys, it's a way worse player going in there doing the exact same shit that these top of the line guys are doing. I mean, the fourth line had good shifts yesterday. I won't. They went out to work. But I mean, it's the top three lines are really, they're all doing the same bad habits and stuff. So what are you going to do? You're trading one for another. It's Robin Peter to pay Paul. It's a shitty situation with the cap space and all that. Yeah, and the injuries. So let's do another one. What's your assessment of Kubalik so far? He's a guy. Would I like? He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's not. I don't think he hurts you. I have high expectations. When I talk about a team, I talk about a team that could win. So in scouting, when you scout, when you give a player rating, you're not giving what you think he's going to be a pro. To make it weird, 1 to 7, 7 being a superstar. But so a 3 as an AHL guy, tweener. Okay. So as an example, if I'm giving a guy a 5, which is a second line player, that's on a good team. I'm not giving him a rating for what he would be on a bad team, right? So on a good team that could make the Stanley Cup, the conference finals. That's how we judged as scouts, is what he is on a good team that can get to there. Is he so a 5? He's a second line. So when I think of Kubalik, he's fine. He's not hurting you. But if I'm a good team, do I want that guy on my team? And you're going to have 1 or 2 guys, forwards, maybe a defenseman, that it's not up to your level just because of cap space and everything like that. But do I want a better player in that position? But who are you going to get for 2.5? Who are you going to get for 2.5 in that spot? That's why, $4 million of dead money. I mean, you bump that up to a $4.5 million guy. He's a much better player and type of player. I think, I'm talking only strictly as player here. Formanton and Pinto on in that third line, it's a completely different line. Now you're heavier, or you play faster, you play more in their face, possess the puck better. It's a different line. And that line can win matchups against other teams' third lines. But right now, he's fine. He's a guy, but we don't need guys. We need players. So he's been traded around for reasons. That's fine. He's an NHL player. I'm not even questioning that. He can go to a team and help them. But me, with my high expectations, I'd like a better player than that in that spot. Let's do another one. Ryan Barber, good cousin from Chauvel, actually scouted for Anaheim for a little bit. Is Patrick Raw already the guy, and are they just waiting for him to decide when it is the right time? Waiting for Shabbat, Greg, Pinto to return, for example. Could be. We still have a little homestand here. I know they have an away game on Friday. Little homestand here, so maybe it's at the end of the homestand when everyone's back. But I just thought with the time in between games, it was a perfect opportunity that if you're going to do it, it's the most fair time to DJ, to not have to deal with 4 days of shit, for the fans to get ready and get some excitement, which matters. Listen, the fans are the most important thing in this sport. So if that would have helped them, and then the players to get and then obviously the new coach that they bring in. So it would have helped everyone there, I think, having these 4 days or whatever, even if there are injuries, at least they're skating. They can at least be around and understand what's expected out of them as effort level and responsibility and structure, really, and the way you play the game. And I talked about Jake Sanderson there, and one thing I forgot to say is Florida dictated the game yesterday, right? So Ottawa's chasing the game. Jake Sanderson is a guy that dictates the game. Other players on the ice have to play off him because he's so good. And that's just something that and I'm sure everyone knows that, but it's just, we need more guys like that. And I think coaching can help that too, because your idea of how you want to play, which could be, making sure there's more support and team awareness and creating lanes can lead to guys having the puck more, And then, you know, when Timmy has the puck more, he's going to be a better player. But if he has no help, or, you know, things aren't going well, it's you look like a much worse player because you're trying to get the puck off Barkov all night, or Matthew Tkachuk, or these guys that do dictate the game. Let's do another one. The doctor. I like the doctor. Would Julian be down to come in under Roy as an assistant to replace Kev? Well, to me, this is everything now. You want to have really good assistants. I mean, where do you get an edge in a cap world? Coaches, GMs, staff. Yeah, I don't know if he would. Maybe because he's here. Maybe he would. Little French connection. Yeah, maybe he would. Maybe, you know, if I would have him or Jacques as an assistant defensive coach, and then I would have maybe a smarter, younger guy for the offensive side. That, you know, you see these young offensive coordinators in the NFL. I like to compare other sports, as you guys are probably aware. These young offensive coordinators or young coaches in the NFL, they've changed the game for the better. They just are way more creative. The younger guys like playing for them. So if you could have the best of both worlds, you know, have a guy like Roy who players want to play for, have a good assistant coach for the defense that want to get guys better, and then a forward-seeking, advanced, creative, younger guy that has some, you know, good experience though. As an assistant coach, I don't know who that is. For assistants, it's hard, right? You don't know who's out there always. You don't know. But a guy like, I don't even know who that would look like. But, you know, like he could have played in the. Maybe I'm not going to force Alfie into coaching role here, but a guy like that has played, that might not necessarily, you know, maybe they only have 1 year experience on the bench, but like a smart, forward-thinking guy is what I think they need on the offensive side of the puck. And then a strong defensive leader for the team defense and the defensive. These defensemen, you know, a lot of bad habits right now, and that can continue. And we look at what's kind of gone on with Shabbat and how hard it is to break that. We don't need that happening to other guys on this team. Let's do another one, please. Nico, Norris and Batherson have been playing like crap. Why are they still on the PP? Well, Batherson's good on the PP, even though he's not very good at 5-on-5 recently. Well, and even his zone entries on the PP haven't been great. Norris, every game I start to worry a little more and more. That said, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't played a ton of hockey, but and that's what this is what this season's going to turn into, is potentially, if they don't start winning here, is fixing bad habits, seeing who actually wants to be here, seeing who's good enough to be here. And then you're going to rearrange your roster next year based on that. Can we do another one, please? Does Joel Quenneville need to be reinstated, or is he a VIP? I don't like to talk on anything other than the actual hockey side. So I'll talk about him as a coach. Fantastic coach, obviously. The other shit I don't know about, so I'm not going to comment. I'll let things to play out before I comment. But as a coach, would I like him? Would he make this team a lot better? Of course he would. Let's do another one, please. Would you hire a coach before a GM? Well, you have to at this point. You're not going to hire a GM. When you're hiring a GM, that's a month or two process, I think, to make sure you have your right guy. We don't have time for that. In a perfect world, sure. But also you're going to hire a guy that the GM should like. Like if you're hiring a good coach, the new GM should like him. And if you're a new GM, you go, well, that's not my hire. If things go awfully wrong here for the next year and a half, you can blame that on the owner. Now you get 2 more coaches that you get to hire as a GM before you get fired. I'd be okay with it as a GM. Maybe that's not the right attitude, but I got to think Steve Staios, Michael Andler. Andler's been in the league. He's been through interviews before. He knows what's going on. I think he'll bring in a proper coach at some point here. Do we want to, let's do some more, I guess. What makes you think it's not coming? Because they didn't fire him last night or this morning. I have a feeling they're negotiating. Oh, I agree. I just think that it was the perfect time, I guess. So do I still think it's going to come? Yes. Unless they win like 3 in a row here or something crazy. But I would have been ahead of this knowing, hey, we're going to pull a trigger here. And if you're telling the coach that you're like ideally you have a coach in mind that you're going to hire. Okay. So you're like going into this weekend, like, hey, if we have a rough weekend here now, probably weren't predicting last night's disaster, which kind of has me and some fans fired up here. But I would have had him ready. I would have had him ready to roll. You know what the schedule is in advance. You know that this is a perfect time. That said, your first fire is not easy either. So I don't know what that means, but they're probably trying to be as fair as possible. But when you don't make those decisions that you need to make, it starts to look bad on you. Let's do another one, please. If the Sens win the next 3, does the reasons we want to replace? Yeah, until they lose again. I mean, this is going on for forever. The only way this changes, I think, for me, and then it just goes on to the off season. They start winning and they get guys back and continue to win. Then you're like, okay, and I'll say I was wrong. I have no problem saying I was wrong on that. If that's the case, I want to be wrong on it. I want this team to succeed. I want to be wrong. I want DJ to do well. But I mean, there's been a big enough sample size over the last few years that we kind of have an idea of where this could go, and it's probably not up. Let's do another one, please. Is it a strong draft year? Oh, yeah. Okay. So talk to some, not even really talk to some scouts that do, friend of the show, Grant from Recruits, who also goes on the podcast in Montreal. From what I'm told, yeah, there is the one guy's pretty good, but I wouldn't say there's like a high end talent like Bernard, but it's a deep draft so far. Now that after Christmas, all that's going to change, and I think I'm going to do a little part on scouting one of these days of kind of the process and how that goes. But right now it looks like a strong draft year. It looks like there's players. Lots of this first rounder has more D than typical, which usually means there's going to be some better forwards in the second round later on too. So yeah, it is a deep draft from what I'm told. That said, it can change like that. And we'll have to see, but 2 picks here, it gives them ammunition. In a good draft, you can either use those picks, hopefully for players that you like, or another team likes a guy in that certain location that you can, maybe the team's rebuilding and that you could trade for a guy that's going to help you win now on a good contract. I'm kind of on the boat of if you could do 1 and 1, depending on how this plays out. But if you can, and that depends on what they do for cap space and all that. It's going to be tricky. A lot more goes into it than, sitting here and just answering a question. But it's when you have picks are assets, right? So having assets are good. obviously losing one in the future here, but hopefully you're in the playoffs and being good, and you're good by the time you lose that pick. Shall we do another one? Are we enjoying this? I hope so. Would Gallant, Boudreau, or Julian actually help team wins? Right off the start, I don't know about that. Over long term, yes, I think. Yeah, I think you would over long term, or at least you would know what players you want to keep around, because that's what I think is going to happen potentially. Is these coach is going to have to come in here and be harder on these guys than they've ever experienced at the pro level. So some are going to go like this, some are going to thrive and go right up, get better, improve their game, and some guys are going to falter. But at least you know then as a GM, right, of what, and fans are going to have to be a little patient. There could be, like, I talked about a golf swing. To be a consistent 90s to 80s, you might have to change your golf swing a little bit. And you might get a little worse off the start, but knowing it gets better down the road. That could happen here with a new coach. But you want to be sure on this. If you make the wrong coaching hire, this could turn into a complete disaster. I don't think it will, but that's what could happen. Should we do another one here? Ryan Barber's on fire today. Why does it seem like the Sens are waiting to find their new GM? Why not hire a guy I mean, they should have probably been in that process, but I think that they want probably a guy that's already hired by a team, and a team's not going to let him go mid-season, like an assistant GM on another team. Steos, so obviously not a ton of experience at the NHL level, but he knows hockey. So he should know coaching and all that, and I'm sure he does. He just has to pull that trigger and make sure he has the right guys there, the right guy ready. That said, it's your first fire. You don't want to make a mistake. GM, he's probably doing GM duties next year. Now, do I think they should have brought in a consultant that could guide him through some of the stuff that maybe he's not really done? And I know Ryan Bonus does that, and he does a good job with the cap and all that stuff, but just that day-to-day stuff that maybe a GM, a guy, okay, and like a guy like Chuck Fletcher, who's been a GM in the league, but probably isn't looking to be a GM right now. And I don't even know if he wants this job or not, but a guy that can just, you could pick his brain about things, about organization, how it should run, all that stuff. Just be able to talk to him and have someone to talk to that's been around. It doesn't even need to be about players all the time. It could just be on how things should run, tricks of the trade, just have that guy around because he hasn't been there long. And then that gets you to the off season, where you can hire the guy that you want. Let's do another one. Phil, if Steos wants more time to choose a new coach, why not put an interim coach in place, someone like Jacques Martin? At least you can start teaching proper. I agree. I would have a guy ready. There's good guys out there, but I would have had my guy ready, and I'd have a whole new coaching staff ready. To be honest, they've been here long enough. Big changes need to be made. Want to do another? I'm okay doing this if you guys have some questions. Brian, Justin, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Love the scouting insights. So I'll say the full question. My buddy Bruce said I maybe mumbled a few yesterday. So you're doing a great job. Love the scouting insights. My issue with DJ, other than not holding top players accountable, throwing McEwen under the bus at post-press conference, he was not the issue. Okay, scouting insights. I'm going to do more of those, I think, down the road. I think easier later in the year, I can get into that more even too, whenever I can start watching some guys. I'll even get out to some 67s games and some Gatineau games, talk to some different scouts from around the league and pick their brains and have some guys for you to watch, especially even World Junior time. I'll have some guys, just to be aware of and have some fun with that. And it breaks up the mundane stuff of the Sens all the time. And then I'll also talk about the structure of what goes into an NHL season or a scouting season for an NHL amateur scout. Now I'm forgetting the second part there. Can we throw that back up? Sorry about that. Yeah, okay. On to the next one. In your opinion, out of all 32 teams, how many would have made a change by now, given that they were in this position? Lots. I think new ownership and new GM goes into play here a little bit. And then the fluctuating results and then the Sweden trip, right? So the fluctuating results of going to Sweden, that puts a dent in your changing your coach. Then you win 2 there, then you come back, life's good. The schedule's all messed up. It's not easy. It's not easy. Lots of things going wrong with this, injuries, but I think lots of teams would have made that change. We've seen teams already make changes, and arguably had higher expectations for Ottawa than some of those teams. So I think they would have. Want to do Patrick? Would anything prevent the Senators from hiring an existing AGM from another team right now? Darshford. So that was in my mind when I was talking about that. I don't think Tampa Bay is letting Matthew Darsh go until end of year. So that's where I come in. Where in a perfect world, you get your GM, you get your coach, then you get your GM, then you get your coach. But it's that we're not in a perfect world right now. So you got to make do. We have lots of varying issues here that have caused, where we are here today with cap and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm thinking we're waiting to the off season. I think Staios can handle it. Why not have a consultant? I think up top you could have too many guys, but having more than one guy in the office other than you is probably needed. Yeah. And just another voice and another guy to talk to. Darren Boyce. Let's get outside the Sens here a little bit. Worried about Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's record? No, because it's Ovechkin. More worried than I was before, but I'm just going to let this season play out here a little bit and see what happens. Doesn't have necessarily the firepower around him like he used to. That hurts sometimes, but he's proven he's such a good player that he's good enough to like I'm gonna wait till he really proves to me that he's done or can't do it until I make that decision. Yeah, let's try Josh here. With a new coach, how much changes when it comes to the roster moves? Do you think they'll start sending guys down and calling guys up to see what they're working with? I mean, you do that probably after the deadline. You're doing that if you're out of the playoffs, but you also have to keep the guys like if so. A guy like okay. So if you have younger guys that you think are going to fit into this organization long term, they need to be up here after the trade deadline. You need to see what they're made out of. You need to give them a taste of NHL experience if they haven't. You need to see what these guys are made of, but you also have to keep guys around that are going to be on the team next year because you need to break these bad habits. You need to be all systems go in training camp next year, ready to go, knowing what the coach expects of you, ready to fire. And that's really what what a new coach is going to have to do here this year for the most part. Now I'm thinking, unless they go on a run. Matt, do you see? Oh, Kane. Yeah, Patrick Kane. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Obviously had a hip issue last year. So though they traded for him, I didn't really have super high expectations. I thought he might have did a little more than he did, but I got to think he's feeling much better. As long as he's rolling, towards the end of the year, low dollar amount. Detroit still has they're going to have 10 million in cap space, I think, at the deadline, which is crazy. So this is a team that needed a little more skill, a little more guys to put the puck in the net. I think they're going to need to fix that back end a little bit if they want to be a team that competes to win playoff rounds. But they have the room for that too. What a GM Stevie Y is, right? Patient, picks his spots, but when he likes a guy, he goes at him and he gets him for cheaper than market value typically. Impressive. T-Dot in K-Town. With all the talk of a new coach, how much of this is actually on the players? A lot. I mean, that said, if you're not, so they don't come out ready. They don't come out. You're not making passes. If you can't make a pass, you're going to struggle in this league. And they couldn't even make passes. It's not good. So is that on the players? Yes, 100%. But what the hell is going on in practice? It's frustrating to watch. It is frustrating to watch. I don't know if they're scared if they were scared of Florida or what, but just guys, there's no communication. There's no passing. There's nothing out there. It's just strikes me as a bunch of individuals that sometimes are good enough to score enough goals to win a game. And I like to see that Korpisalo on that play get mad, because I would be pissed off if I was playing on this team. We should see Shabbat. Okay, Josh, we'll go. Do we see Shabbat get back to the 50-plus point player we saw him under Guy Boucher? It's going to be harder because there's more players on the team taking away power play minutes and all that stuff. I don't need that. I don't need that from him. If he can be add a bit to the power play, if he could be a great 5-on-5 player that wins shifts, that gets the pucks that can actually pass the puck and get it to their forwards, I think that helps this team so much. So much. I mean, we see it last night. Timmy's yelling at the D to get the puck up quicker. I assume that was at Brandstrom. I don't know. But it's there's no urgency in the game. There's no assertiveness. There's nothing. And that's Thomas Chabot can get the puck and get it out of the zone at least. And really, that's what I need him to come in here and do. The points are points at this point. It just, your team needs to play the right way, get less points, allow less goals, and win more games. How about a temp Julien Martin coalition for the balance of the season? Review in the spring. They're local. Yeah, I'm open to options. I just see some good coaches sitting there. If I didn't see some good coaches sitting there, it would be a lot different. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, but something needs to change. I'm okay with some hard ass coaches coming in here and fixing this. And then, so I think his name was Brian, about DJ throwing McEwen under the bus. 100. I couldn't believe that. He strikes me as a guy that is trying to protect himself a little bit now. And I'm okay with that. But what the hell are you going to think when this guy, Matthew Tkachuk, is running around making a mockery of your team while you're already losing 3-0? Listen, you weren't winning that game. And to say the Ottawa Senators don't play that way, well, I don't know what way they play. because that was a dog shit effort, and it is a terrible effort. So at least the guy that comes in there and was the result of what he was trying to do, great. Probably not. Probably shouldn't have been a penalty, but at least the guy had some balls. And you know what? They kind of played better after too. So, and that's probably just because they're down, but and Florida, and Florida scored their goals and whatever, but they at least showed a little more care and a little more effort after. I mean, it is, I don't like that from the coach. I mean, even some players kind of, I think, felt that way, but that game is a gong show. You're just trying to drag something out of it for the next game. And the next game's in Columbus. And they just beat the Bruins down yesterday. So this should be interesting. Josh, we'll do one more here. I saw some speculation that teams are calling on Batherson, regardless of poor defensive play, lack of hockey IQ. Why would you ever trade him and his cap? To me, Batherson isn't the same player that he was 2 years ago, and he should be better than that because of his makeup, his size. Those guys typically get better as they go. He hasn't. Is that coaching? Is that not working on proper things in practice? Is that not playing the right style of game for him? I mean, this guy was a hockey sense guy. Guy was a puck possession guy. He's not that anymore. And it's too bad because at one point I was thinking that's one of the best contracts in the league. Boy, was I wrong so far, but that's why you don't want to trade these guys. You just don't know what's going to happen with a new coach. So let the new coach come in, decide. Let the players decide with the new coach if they're good enough to be here. It's up to the players. They gotta show they want to be here. They gotta show improvement. I think that's probably it for me today. I just want to see if I'm missing anything. No, that's pretty good, I think, for today. Save some questions for some other days here. As always, I appreciate all the questions. I like that keeps the fans involved here too. That's the fun part. The game is nothing without the fans, right? So just keep going. Don't get too down. I think there's good signs ahead if they can make some good decisions here with the coach, and that I think we'll see some improvement here. Enjoy your day. Peace out, Ottawa.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Simmer Down with Sean Simpson on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.